Hey there, adventurers. Welcome to Let's Just Go podcast. I'm Kayla. Last week, I talked about Dublin, which was the first stop on my European adventure. And today, I'm talking about Venice. So, Dublin was one of those places that I wasn't really looking forward to going to. Venice was also, honestly, one of those places I'm not going to say I wasn't looking forward to going to. It was one of those places that I was just like, yeah, okay, if I go there sometime, that's fine. If I don't, that's also fine. I just thought before going that Venice was really overhyped. I didn't really see the appeal, but I also was very much like, oh, I have to go before it's completely underwater. Because we all know that's the trope, right? Is that it's going to be underwater soon. So it made sense as a place to fly into and then from there head to the wedding that we were going to. So this episode's about Venice, like I said. I want to make sure that I forewarn you that when it comes to seafood, I am very particular about the things that I eat. And Venice is a city that loves their seafood. So just keep that in mind as I'm talking about the foods that I eat, because I think it's really important that if you are a fan of fish, you would likely enjoy the food of Venice. I like salmon if it's raw, like in sushi, and I like shellfish, but that's really the extent of my enjoying of seafood. Oh, and fish and chips. I will fuck up some fish and chips, but that is a vessel for tartar sauce. Anyways, so I want to just make sure you know that as we're going into this, and I'm giving you my thoughts on Venice, that you know how I feel about the food. So, first things first, let's talk about leaving Dublin. I thought it would be a great idea to have a flight at 5:45 in the morning so that we would have lots of time in Venice. That meant waking up at 3 a.m., leaving the hotel at 3:20 to make sure we got to the airport in a timely manner. I have an Oura ring, and my ring said that I did not sleep that night, which it kind of felt like. It was an interesting experience getting to the airport in Dublin because nothing was open. And I joked that I've never seen people rope drop coffee before, but there was a line outside the coffee shop before it opened, because I think it opened at 5 and it was 4 something when we saw it. I will say the ride back to the airport in Dublin from our hotel was significantly more expensive than the ride out of the airport. And I don't know exactly why that is. It was metered versus a flat fee. So keep that in mind. Once we got to Venice, it was great because we got off the plane and there was a line for U.S. citizens and there was a different line for everyone from Dublin. So we were one of very few people in our line. We went through very quickly. And then we came out and I had pre-booked a water taxi to get us, or actually a private transfer to get us to our hotel. So I needed to find my name on a sign. I came out of baggage claim and customs, and there was a man with a sign that had my name on it. Really great guy, super fun to talk to. He walked us exactly where we needed to go, took my bags from me, which was really nice, and walked me directly to our transfer. That was the coolest experience of my entire life. People kept comparing it to James Bond, and I see why. So it's a little wooden boat, and you get in, they take your luggage, and you're just chilling while they fly down essentially a highway on the water to get you from the airport to your destination. Now, I will say we were staying at the JW Marriott Venice, which is on its own private island. Absolutely amazing place. I'll get into it obviously a little more, but it is further than Venice from the airport. So we actually went essentially around Venice to get to the hotel, which I thought was really cool. It gave us a great view, especially because it was 9 o'clock in the morning. So That was really great. Really, really cool. Again, it was a splurge. We could have taken the like water bus to get us to Venice, taken our luggage, and then gotten to the complimentary boat that takes you out to the island. But I didn't want to do all of that. I knew I was going to be tired. It was worth it to me. I'm the kind of person, like, time is money, and I would much rather spend the money than spend my time, especially on a trip where I know I only have a few days in a specific place. So we got to the hotel, pulled up, immediately greeted by the kindest people. Remember, at this point, it's like 10 something. Like, we're early. I'm not expecting a room to be ready. I totally understand why it wouldn't be ready. I had used my upgrades that I get because of being platinum with Bonvoy, specifically at this destination, because a lot of times they're easier to use when you're international than they are when you're domestic. And then on top of that, when you only have a couple of nights, they're usually more likely to be able to accommodate them. So we got a junior suite. It was amazing. If I haven't already posted a walkthrough of the room, I will be doing that. So check out either YouTube Shorts or my TikTok or my Instagram. It's going to be in all of those places. Beautiful room. It's so quiet. There was a soaking tub. We had this huge terrace. There was a walk-in closet. It was glorious. So we didn't have a room ready for us, but they did take us to the little cafe. We got something to eat. We got our first cappuccino of the trip. And the people were so great because, as I think I've mentioned before, Brian has a tree nut allergy, and everyone told me, oh, Italians do not take allergies seriously. Like, just be forewarned. And we had someone from the food and beverage team come out and specifically talk to us about his allergies and walk us through exactly the things that he could and couldn't eat, which really, it was amazing to me that this was the level of service that we were getting. I mean, it's a JW, so I sort of guess I should be expecting it. But they made sure he could eat everything. They explained to him that a lot of things said it had tree nuts because of cross-contamination, which in reality was fine for him. And then she let us know that at breakfast the next morning she'd be there and she could help walk us through the things that he could and couldn't eat. So it was fantastic. The service, really great. So I had a sandwich that Brian couldn't eat because it had tree nuts in it. He had something that he could eat. We had our coffees. And then I was so tired. We had sort of wandered the grounds just to get the lay of the land. And then we came back into the lobby. And I started falling asleep on one of their couches. And they must have known because then suddenly my phone rang and they were like, hey, your room's ready. And I was like, oh, thank God. So room was ready. They also apologized that our room wasn't ready earlier, which is wild to me because I never expect a room to be ready before check-in time. I think it's great when it is ready earlier, but it's never an expectation. So room was ready. We went upstairs. I did a tour of the room so that I had it. And then I immediately knocked out on the bed. I was like, all right, I'm going to take a nap. So I knew that we had a food tour at, I believe, 6:30, maybe it was 5:30. So I slept so hard. I guess that someone had come in to drop off a gift for us. And I was asleep. And Brian was on the couch, like playing a Switch or something. And he didn't hear them knock on the door. Obviously, I didn't hear because I was asleep. And they got terrified because they came in not knowing we were there. And they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. So we were exhausted. But got up for the food tour. And it was really sweet. It was a welcome fruit platter, which was really nice because I had mentioned that in Dublin, they sent us macarons, which is nice, but Brian can't eat them. So it's like, it's nice, but most of the time when something is sent up to the room, it has tree nuts, I've learned, which is really frustrating. So the fruit was great. We ate most of it. Then it was time for the food tour. So we went on for the first time on our little shuttle that took us into Venice. We knew we had enough time to get to where we needed to be for the food tour. And I will say, on our way to the food tour on the boat, there was a woman who was very concerned because she realized she'd booked 2 different tours at the same time, and she thought she'd canceled one, but she hadn't. And they were a group of like 6, I think. And so she was really stressed out. And as we got off of the boat, Brian was like, they're for sure going to be on our food tour. I just know it. And I was like, no, I don't think they are. And he was like, no, they're definitely going to be. And sure enough, they were. So my point here is, if you work with a travel advisor, we can help you make sure that any tours you have booked, so long as we've helped you book them, we can make sure you don't accidentally double book yourself. And that if you do, we fix it. So they had a good time on the tour. They were all shit-faced the entire time, which was not cute, but I digress. So food tour, it was great. It rained the whole time, pretty much. It was raining. So I have notes about the food tour. There were sardines, anchovies, red snapper, all things that I was like, absolutely not. I'm not touching that. We had a pasta that was really good. We had some burrata, roast peppers. There was espresso with some like essentially grappa in it. And then there was gelato at the end that was fantastic. It was a fun food tour, and I'm glad that I did it because I got to sort of see what types of things the Venetians eat. And I will say, like, there were some stuffed olives that were like deep fried. That shit was good. I'm an olive girl. I liked that. I could eat more and more of those. And then there were just things that I really didn't want to even try, like the anchovies and the sardines. I can't do the like tiny fish. Like, I understand that those go into Caesar dressing, and I love Caesar dressing, but I don't want to just eat them. So the food tour was good. It was fun. We actually ended up going with the guide at the end of the tour. She was like, I need to go home. Like, I'm getting ready to go on a trip. But like, she was so great. We really liked her. And she was like, I'm going to take you to my favorite bar though. Like, if you guys don't have anything you're doing. So we walked with her. She took us to a bar. We got some, I believe I got Prosecco and Brian got a beer and just like hung out. And like, it was such a vibe. And so that was a lot of fun. And at that point, the rain had stopped, thankfully. But the food tour itself, like, I wasn't a huge fan of the one group. Everyone else was great, but that one group really just sort of dragged it down. Because again, like, they were just this very specific type of American tourist that I try very hard not to associate myself with, where like they were from the South, they were really loud. They, again, were like already drunk before the tour started. Mind you, the tour included wine like at the different stops. And one of the men at one point left to go get himself more alcohol because it wasn't enough. So like, it was just like, you're problematic. You know you're problematic. And it's like, you're embarrassing. Anyways, I could go on and on about this. So tour was fun. I love to do a food tour when I get somewhere, especially if I'm like not sure where I want to eat or what I want to eat while I'm there. So that was fun. We wandered around. We were honestly exhausted because even though I had that nap, it wasn't enough. So we came back and this crazy thing happened. There was no cold water throughout the hotel. I'm talking scalding hot, burned myself trying to wash my hands, no cold water. So I called the front desk and I was like, hey, I just want to like let you know there's no cold water in our room. And they were like, yeah, it is. It's main building wide because there's also like separate buildings on the island that are more like residence type, like villas and things. And I was like, okay, do you have an ETA for like when it's going to be back? Because all I wanted to do was take a shower because again, it had been pouring down rain. I'd covered myself in bug spray because I knew the bugs were going to get me, and they did, even covered in bug spray. So they didn't know how long it was going to take. we ended up just turning on the cold water like faucet and waiting until we heard water come out of it to know that it was safe. Eventually took a shower, went to bed. So then the next morning we had a tour that we were doing, and we needed to get to the Vaporetto, which is the water bus, by a certain time. However, our hotel's shuttle didn't run early enough for us to get to the Vaporetto. So I was really worried that we were going to miss it, because I think we needed to be at the Vaporetto by 9, and the first shuttle left our hotel at 8. And so I was really worried that we weren't going to make it because of how long it would take to get there and then navigating our way through the streets, because the Vaporetto was leaving at 9 and we needed to meet our guide and get our tickets and all of that. Thankfully, we got it all done. I also hadn't looked the night before to see what time the first was at. So I looked in the morning. I was like, okay, we're not going to have enough time to grab breakfast. This is just going to have to be really fast. And instead, we ended up being able to enjoy our breakfast. And then we just sort of hustled and we got on the Vaporetto in time, which was great. So the breakfast, very American style breakfast. I appreciated it. I ate a lot of fruit. We had our coffee included, and I had a cappuccino, and it was fantastic. And like I said, they explained to Brian all the things he couldn't eat. There was lots of cheese, lots of cold cuts, lots of bread. So that was fun. Then we did a tour of the 3 islands around Venice, which was really cool. So the first was Torcello, which is the oldest of the 3 islands. It's very quiet. There's not a whole lot of people that live there, but there's so much history, which is really cool. And we got to go up in a bell tower, and there was a really cute cat, and that was nice. So we wandered there for a little bit, and then we took the Vaporetto over to Verona. Beautiful, brightly colored. I've got some pictures of it. You've probably seen pictures of it and didn't know where it was. It was really, really beautiful. And the reason it's so colorful is because it was a fisherman's island, and the fishermen didn't know where their house was, so they were all painted different colors so they could find their house. So I thought that was really cool. So beautiful. We had lunch there. I had some gnocchi. I think it had scallops in it, because I do like scallops. It was good. It was fine. Brian had risotto with cuttlefish, which is a thing of the region. It's a known thing in Venice. I love risotto. I did not like that shit. Brian didn't like it either, but he did end up finishing it, and he said he liked it more as he kept eating it. But Verona is known for their lace. So there was a lace maker that it was 86 years old. She's been doing it since she was 10. She's never taken a break, which is really cool and also really sad, because she's sitting there actively making lace. But it was really neat. Didn't buy any lace. I did get a pretty picture of a painting of the houses, because like I said, it was really beautiful. And it was cute. There was a lot to see and do. And then from Verona, we went to Murano, which is probably the best known of the 3 islands. If you have ever heard of Dale Chihuly, reppin' Tacoma, he actually went to Murano to study glassblowing. So they're known for their glassblowing. Really cool. We went and saw a glassblowing demonstration, which we've both seen before, because again, we grew up in Tacoma, and there's a lot of glass blowing because of Dale Chihuly. There's a whole glass museum in Tacoma, if you didn't know that. So we went and watched this, and then we actually got some souvenirs afterwards in their little store. So I got a little glass cat that is on top of a fish tank, which is really cute. It's behind me on my shelf right now, but I'm not going to take it down to show you. And then we wandered the streets, and I got a cute little gondola with the gondolier on it that's also glass, also behind me right now. Also not going to grab it. So that was really cool getting this Murano glass. I also got some earrings that were really pretty that are made out of the Murano glass. It's a really big island comparatively to the other two. There were hotels that like you would know the name of if you saw them. And it was nice. I was getting tired though, and it was starting to rain, and I was like ready to go. So from there we took the Vaporetto back so we could go to the hotel and rest for a little bit, because then I had actually made us a reservation for dinner per the recommendation of my friend Hannah for Harry's Bar, which you might not have ever heard of before, and that's totally valid. But it is the birthplace of the Bellini. So if you've ever had a Bellini, this is where it was originally created. The restaurant has been open since 1931. It's a fancy restaurant. And like when I say fancy, I mean someone was taking a picture with flash on, and the staff came over and said, "Excuse me, but you cannot take photos in here. Some of our clientele does not want their picture taken." Like it was a whole thing. So that was really interesting. So I had a Bellini. Brian had a whiskey sour. I had a ham and cheese pasta that was so good. It was like an appetizer, but I ordered it as my entree and it was delicious. Brian got some ragu. Really good. I ate some of that. And then I'm going to totally butcher the name of this dessert that we had, but it was a Cipriani vanilla meringue cake. Oh my God, it was so good. I didn't know what to expect, but it was like a vanilla sponge cake with some vanilla cream, and then the meringue was like marshmallowy. Oh my God, it was so good. So really cool experience. 200 euros for the two of us, and we didn't have a whole lot. The Bellini itself was like 22 euro, I think. So Venice is expensive. Keep that in mind. But we came here specifically because of the Bellini. It was good. I don't think it was 22 euro good. I would go back, but it would need to be like an experience to go back. Like I'd need to be taking someone else that hadn't been before. That's like, my mom would love to have a Bellini. I think she would have really liked it. I think she would have loved the dessert. And like, I'd come back and do that. So from there, we took the train the next day to go to Verona. That's what the next episode is going to be about. But I really liked Venice. I liked it more than I thought I would. I don't necessarily feel like I need to go back. If I do go back, I will absolutely only be staying at that JW Marriott. Being able to take a quick boat ride and be on a private island where it was quiet and everyone was so friendly was so nice, because Venice is so crowded and you've got tiny, narrow streets. And I just really thoroughly enjoyed being able to escape that. I will say Venice is much quieter once the day trippers are gone. So early in the morning was great. Like going to get to that Vaporetto, fantastic. Late at night after we left Harry's, wonderful. But that like bulk of the day, there's so many people. It's so hard to get around. And this was in the beginning of June. So it's not like this was peak travel season. This was shoulder season. And there are so many people. Keep in mind, if you are coming to Venice, there is, depending on the dates that you're traveling, the specific fee that you need to either pay or get an exemption from. That's the tourist fee. So keep that in mind. I've posted about it on my social media. If you want some more information on it, you can also just Google like Venice tourist fee and find it. But if you're planning on going to Venice in really the spring or summer, I have a feeling this is going to continue happening as the years progress. Last year was the first year of it. They're doing it again this year, and I think it's just going to keep happening. So when it comes to Venice, come in with an open mind. If you're not a huge seafood person, make sure you know what types of things you're going to eat and like where you're going to go, because that was hard for me. I mean, I had good food. It's just I didn't have as much good food as I had hoped that I would. But like I said, next episode's going to be about Verona. Oh, I loved Verona so much. Venice was great. I liked Verona more than Venice. That's just me. But we'll get into that next week. If you are wanting any help with planning a vacation, any trips, if you want more information about my trip to Venice, I actually post blogs that go out the same time as the podcast now. Like that's a new thing I started with Dublin on my website. So KaylaReneeTravel.com. You'll be able to find my blogs, information about the podcast, and information about working with me. So if that's of interest to you, go check it out. I'd love to help you. I mean, obviously, I really enjoy doing this work and I love talking about it. And it's really fun to talk to other people instead of just talking to myself and hoping that other people are going to listen. So reach out. And until next time, let's just go.